time for long, and the erosion, long time, and ain't not weary. Oh, and the erosion, long time, a long time for long, and the erosion, long time, and ain't got weary. Oh, and the pray, we pray a long time, real long, and the praying, preaching, long time, and ain't got weary. Really sing these songs a long time, a long time for long, and the sing these songs a long time, and ain't got weary. Oh, and the travel he rode a long time, long time, long time. And the travel and travel a long time, and ain't got weary. Yeah. Good job, good job. That was great.
This is Cut Plantation. This is where I was raised. This is where I was born. And I was born in 1952. I left New Cut in 1970. That's when I went to college. And when after going to college, my parents moved to now Maybank Highway. But most of my growing up was here. I used to work in the house behind me. I used to babysit in that house behind me. And Mr. Rutledge gave big parties. And when he gave parties, that was the time that I got a job. And I could work and help Miss Betsy. Miss Betsy was their maid. And we worked, and she was a wonderful woman. I watched my dad when he'd go out fishing. We would go on the dock crabbing. We never did a lot of fishing, but because Daddy did. He worked at night. Daddy worked at night, went out in the river, caught. He knew this river in this area like the back of his hand. All 700 acres he single-handedly took care of.
Memories.
We've all got great memories of this place.
I know I do.
And we share a lot of these memories. And your dad.
Okay.
Come
We'll
on.
get there.
Let's get it. Do it. You can do it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry.
I know.
You can do it.
He's always been one of my heroes.
I know.
I admired him because there was nothing he couldn't do. And there was nothing he didn't try to do. And he worked unselfishly to raise a healthy family, to see them prosper. And he was the soul of this place. And there usually isn't a day that goes by that I don't think of him. Because I wonder how he did it all.
It's kind of
And
nice.
I really hope that I can get that house looking back the way it was when Carrie and I were living in it about 10 years ago. Because it was a beautiful place to live. We thought it was, we called it the blind. Because we had so many turkeys and deer, and foxes, and all kinds of things that we see right out the window. And we had cleaned up the woods around there so you could see all the way to the marsh. It's a beautiful, beautiful sight. But I think of John because John taught me to drive on a tractor, taught me to fish. He got us fishing together. Just so many things. So I really do hope we can do this. I'd love to do this every year.
Okay. Yes.
And I hope when you come back I'll have a dock so we can fish and
Yes.
crab again.
Yes, 'cause I want to go fishing.
Sailing.
Yeah, we used to go sailing.
Okay.
We had a little sunfish.
Right.
One of those little
So we went sailing one day, and we had flipped before, but this particular day we flipped. And see, Billy was an excellent swimmer. I couldn't swim, but I still went with him.
I just floated.
No, you don't float. You was excellent. So the sailboat flipped, and when the sailboat flipped, it came on top of me. So I went under, and when I went under, I didn't know what to do. So I said, well, I think I remember something like this. So I came up. So when I came up, I hit the top. And when I hit the top, I said, oh shit, excuse me. I had to go back. I in trouble. I got to go back down. So I going back down, and I said, well, I guess I got to do something else. So I do this. And I did this. I said, well, now I try to come up. So I came up. And then I grabbed the end, and I looked at Billy. Billy said, John, are you all right? Really, Billy? What are you doing? Why are you not looking for me? Why are you not looking for me?
Now the difference in the praising is simple. The praise, religious is three parts. It's your worship, your praise, and then you sing hymn. Well, four part, pay money, of course, pay your 10%. But it basically is worship, praise, and singing a song. And where the two culture clashes is when it comes down to the music. The European believe that your feet should stay on the floor. But when you look at the African culture, what do African people do? And let's throw the American Indians in too. What they did on these plantations, because they wanted to check out this God, they went into the woods and they had an area cleared out. Some people call it a hush harbor because they go and sneak off and sing at a low tone. Other people call it a brush harbor because it's out in the bush. But either of those things, they're talking about the same concept. Now, if any one of us would go into the woods, we would notice that hush harbor because the area is cleared and there would be a 360-degree ring in the dirt. Because before it was foot stomping, hand clapping, praise out, it actually was a ring shuffle. The masters didn't want you to raise their feet, but the Africans say, I'm not going to raise my feet, but I still can get my groove on. You know how we do. And that's what they actually done. Up until the point to where slaves were coming from different plantations, meeting in these hush harbors. So the masters from different plantations, they came together and they thought that, they could run away. Some probably from you guys' plantation. You know that black-owned slave too. Richard and Joseph DeReese was just as big a plantation owners, the Miltons and the Drayton that they advertise all the time. They just don't talk about them. They left us out of the history. But we brought that out. Once they found out, these masters build praise house on the plantation. And that means they don't have to no longer meet in the woods. There's the most accepted theory that the cabin closest to the main mansion house would be a praise house cabin. They go in, close the door, close the window, take a cast iron pot inside with them, put it up to the foot of the door, and they believe the song that they were making inside, you actually can't hear it on the outside. And that born these praise house. And actually, I think there's one still standing on Last Street. Yeah, right next to, yeah, exactly. Still exists today from back then. But what it is we converted into what we call foot stomping, hand clapping praise house music. We're call and response song. Call and response meaning that you got a leader and of course a chorus. But it goes like this. There's a slow beat and a fast beat in the song that don't change the rhythm. Now that's how the older people here, I didn't have to tell them how that goes because they know how it goes. But let me do this song that is an old familiar song that all of my program I open up with. Mr. James Frazier that lives up the road, he used to sing this particular song. I've been walking you a long time, so long, and the walk you ocean, long time, and ain't not weary. Oh, and the walk you ocean, long time, a long time for long, and don't walk the ocean, long time, and ain't got weary. Oh, and don't pray.
I'm at the house, I'm Maddie Mitchell. I'm at the house where I was raised. I grew up here on this plantation. We lived in this 8-room house. This house was in 2 sections. As Sister Ida said, part of it was on that side. They push it and move it together. Okay, my parents' room was up on the front. My dad single-handedly built us a restroom. Some years there was a shower. And he also put in running water. We had a sink because all that time we did hand pump. Also, we left here in between 70 and 71. I went to college in 70. When I came back, we were moved to our new destination, which is on Maybank Highway.
What college did you go to?
I went to Claflin College in Orangeburg. That was in 1970. And the reason I went there to a Pell Grant, because my parents was considered, socioeconomic status was poor. They were farmers. And my mom was a housewife. And my dad was the only provider. Okay? And I was one of the first to go to a 4-year college. Okay, my siblings, they all went to school separate time, but I went away, literally went away. I was the first one.
This is a washboard. On the plantation, normally the slave actually used the tools that they work with. There you got washboards. I played with copper pipe fitting, but they normally play with utensils like knives and fork. Some people use hanger wires, different thimbles on their finger, that kind of stuff. They used to make a base out of a wash tub, number 3 tub. It was different things, play cowbells, those kind of things. A lot of people just beat stick as a rhythm thing, okay?
The fact is undenied. I'm questioning my relevance almost every night. How do I comfort you when I need comfort too? When you're mad at me and I'm mad at you too. I'm tired of being the fool, 'cause we fight and you cry and we don't say goodnight. Tears dry, then we try, then I don't get it right. Maybe, just maybe, we can sing a different song. 'Cause we fight, then you cry, and we're both alone.
What's your immediate, so far on this whole journey of what you've seen so far? What's your takeaway?
I didn't know Charleston had this rich history. I also didn't know about all these islands. I didn't know about Guatemala Island and Jones Island, and I didn't know anything about. I had heard the word Gullah before, but I didn't know its connection to language and culture and religion. And so to be able just to experience all of that, it's a first-person history lesson.
Right. Thank you, man.
If you live right, heaven belongs to you. When we live right, oh Lord, heaven. When we talk right, when we talk right, heaven belongs. When we talk right to you, oh heaven belongs. When we pray right, heaven, come on. When we pray right, when we pray to God, oh